What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the 2023 Honda HR-V. I got the top trim, the EXL. My first time being up close and personal. I've seen a lot of pictures, but let's see what it's all about today. Up front we have a current gen Ford Escape looking inspired front end. You can't tell me you don't see that Ford Escape looking front end, don't you? Let me know in the comments if you do. Overall though, I do really like it. It looks very, rugged and more boxy and SUV-like, especially compared to the previous gen, which was way more curvy. The headlights, they're very Honda Civic-like. They have a nice clean LED DRL with LED low beams, high beams, and they're standard as well. And there are no fog lights available on any trim, at least here in Canada. Maybe you do get some in the States. But other than that though, the front end overall looks fairly nice. I like the black accents, the glossy black accents, which I think is just for the top trim. Lower trims probably do get a flat black trim. But yeah, let's go on to the side. Now the side profile gets an update to be less round and more square, just like the front. It looks pretty nice, to be honest with you, especially the side view when you look at it from right here. It gives me a very Mercedes GLC-like impression. Now, no matter what trim you get, Honda gives you a 17-inch wheel on 215 series tires, which is pretty surprising since usually Honda separates their trims based on different wheel sizes. I gotta say, my favorite wheel option is probably the one that comes with the sport trim. It just looks nicer in my opinion. I think in the States, they give you a larger wheel size. Over here, they only give you 17s. Like, what's going on? We usually get the good stuff, not the States, but whatever, no complaints. But I still have to say, my favorite and recommended trim, in my personal opinion, would be the sport trim. I think it will sell the most, especially because it's kind of in that middle of the pack kind of range, upper end but middle range, and it looks really good with the black accents. But it's like I kind of wish I had that to film. But not gonna lie, the EXL trim still looks pretty decent. Other than that, there's not too much to talk about onto the side here, so I'm gonna move towards the back and show you what's new. Moving to the back, the new HR-V looks great overall, and especially once again compared to that previous gen. I love the taillight design. They're very Audi-esque, European looking. They're LED taillight as well, so in my opinion it looks really, really nice. The only other thing to really point out is that the sport trim gets an exhaust finisher. The rest don't really show the exhaust tip at all. And while I'm up here, the tailgate, once you open it up, your tailgate cargo area is 24 cubic feet behind the second row. But if you want more space, you can fold down that second row and you get 55 cubic feet, which is definitely a good amount for the size of this subcompact crossover. Thank you to Wheaton Honda West of Calgary, Alberta for letting me borrow this new HR-V. They don't have too many on the lot, so if you're looking for one and you're in the area, the link to their website is right below that like button. Now, on with the video. Taking a look underneath the hood, we don't have too much going on. It's a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine. It makes 158 horsepower and 138 pound-feet of torque. I know you're probably saying that's not a lot, but for this segment and the class it's in, it's not too bad. It's doable. It's linked to a CVT transmission, the only type available. Not like the original first-gen HR-V one in the beginning. They had a manual transmission with a front-wheel drive, but this is also available in front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive as well, of course. And the upper two trims are only available in all-wheel drive. Now, fuel economy, I'll throw those numbers up on the screen for you. 0 to 60, in my opinion, it doesn't matter because it's pretty slow. But the good thing to know, the important thing to note about this engine bay is that it's a reliable engine. That is really bad and no turbos to worry about. And so long term, it should be reliable and good to go. Time to jump inside. Here is what the current Honda key fob looks like. It's the same as the Civics. It's a nice round shape. It looks like a little mini car. Has a remote engine start, which is awesome to see, especially in these Canadian winters. I'm not sure about the American counterparts, but here we are. So let's jump in. Put this in my pocket. You can see the Honda sensing stuff is on the mirror there. You have your keyless entry systems, which has the little tab right here to open up. Now, taking a look at the door panel at first. You can't expect too much of a subcompact mainstream crossover, but at the same time, this thing is like 40K Canadian now, which is crazy to think about that the price has gone up this much. About 29,000 USD, so you would expect some decent materials. And so the stuff right here, this is soft touch. I'm assuming this is more hard touch right here. This is like touch plastic molded and plastic injection molded, whatever Sofyan calls it from Redline Reviews. So it's okay enough to feel. This stuff, you're not gonna feel too much. Your armrest, pretty nicely padded. The stitching looks great. The switches are straight from the Civic. They look fairly nice and they feel high quality as well. No complaints here. Your lower portions, I like this, if you can see in the sunlight here, like ribbed kind of plastic. It is hard touch, but it has a cool design. So that's that. Now, first taking a look at this interior, it looks pretty nice, especially compared to the previous generation. I'll take a look at these seats first. Now, this is the EXL trim, which is the highest trim. The Touring no longer exists, at least here in Canada. The seats themselves, the stitching looks very nice. The patterns, the perforations here, it all feels pretty good. Now you have, I believe, 6-way manual adjustment for the drivers and a 4-way for the passenger. Now let me jump in. Now I'll leave the door open just so there's more light that comes in. No power seats available for the HRV at all, no matter what trim you get. So let's turn off these lights and let's start the car. So your power button is right over here. Actually, I'll close the door just so it you get the experience. So now the first thing I'll notice is it looks really nice, especially with the way the vents are designed over here and they go out over here. These are just like the Civics, but I personally like these more just because they have more traditional, I guess, levers, you can call it. But the shape of the oval makes it look really nice and clean with the silver strip as well. Now I'll move on to the wheels first, or the steering wheel. Right out of the Civic, which is not a bad thing at all. It's a good looking wheel. The stitching looks very nice. It's leather wrapped, it's heated, which is on the top trim only, which we're in. The airbag cover and clicky buttons. So I don't have any complaints with that at all. Even the stock itself looks very, very nice. Now taking a look at the digital display behind the steering wheel, it's the same one that you get from the Honda Accord, right? From the 2018 Honda Accord. That's where it debuted, and now it's going everywhere. I'm surprised that, I guess there's not going to be a full digital display. I wish there was, but it looks okay. You know, not too shabby. And the upper portions here, this is actually a soft touch, which I mean, I'm pretty surprised. I thought that'd be a hard touch plastic. Maybe the lower trims will, but this is a soft touch. This is also a soft touch material, probably the same as the leather material. I believe it's synthetic leather as well, not real leather. And that's also only available on the EXL. The other trims have cloth and leather setup. Now, we have the full 9-inch infotainment, which is the same as the Civics. Anything lower from this trim will have a 7-inch display and lesser quality, in my opinion. This looks really good. The map looks really good as well. Decent Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. Nice feeling, good software, same as the 2018 Accord that I saw, but with just updated graphics and speed and such. I like having a knob for your volume. And yeah, there's not too much to really talk about there. Your backup camera, there's Sir Jimmy just hanging out. And you have some parking sensors, so that's pretty cool, 3 different parking angles. The quality is okay, once again. I really wish Honda would upgrade their camera quality. I think that's something that they could improve on. Now, moving to, so one last thing I want to mention, that Sirius XM, for example, if you're a listener, but it's only available on the top end trim. And the top end trim has a 8-speaker audio setup compared to a 4-speaker system on the base, and then 6 for the mid trims, which 4 on the base, that's crazy. That's kind of low in my opinion. Now, the HVAC controls stripped right out of the Accord, which is a great thing because the Accord had a really good HVAC control system. Knobs for your temperature select, for your fan speed, nice, turn that down, your heated seat buttons, nice clicky buttons, same with your, everything just feels good quality and tactile. And so I'm a fan of it. I think it's a good setup, way better than the touch sensitive things that they had in the previous gen. Below that, you have a USB wireless charger only on your top trim as well. A couple cup holders, your shifter, which leather wrapped, feels nice, you know, to your CVT. The stitching looks really nice. I'm surprised to see stitching over here as well. This is something that I wasn't expecting to see. Your drive mode selector, your downhill driving mode button, your electronic parking brakes, and so on. So The graphics for this, for example, you have normal, econ, and snow driving modes, and that's really it. And beside your leg, when I switch over the lens here, you can see there's another USB over here and a little, you know, floating console storage area. I'm glad they kept that. The first generation had that too. Less space than the first gen, but it looks very nice, in my opinion. And your passenger side also gets a USB as well. So you have a total of 3 up front here alone, which is pretty nice in my opinion. Now the center armrest, nice same stitching along the edges as well. This doesn't move back and forth, I believe, but you can raise it up. And you have a decent size for your storage. Here's a little reference of me putting my arm in. It goes, I don't know, maybe a foot deep in there. It sounds a little wrong, but anyways. I like the new matte design. This is kind of not really a part of the review, but this is like a factory HRV matte, and it looks pretty nice. I like how they have raised the edges and all that, so I'm glad they're doing it like aftermarkets. When you look at the top, you have a standard size sunroof, no panel roof available. This is very, I guess, upper trim based only as well, so you don't get that on lower trims as expected. And your lights, so if I turn them on, you get LED lights. That's pretty cool as well. And I would expect them to keep that all the way around, even on lower trims. But yeah, so there's a little brief rundown of the interior. I'm gonna adjust my seat to where I'm comfortable. I'm 6'1". I'm gonna jump into the back seat and show you how much space I have in this subcompact crossover. Time to jump into the second row. There's no sensors on the back door handles for keyless entry, so it is what it is. I opened up the tailgate so you guys have more light to see. Now, taking a look at the door panel once again, you have hard touch over here actually, so a little cost cutting measure we've seen there. I really wonder what this is for. It's a little strip. I wonder if they had plans for like some type of ambient lighting, but they didn't do it. Same hard touch material. This, you can tell it's less padded towards the back, but the stitching is the same. And you have like a pocket for a bottle. And the cool texture on the back door panel, that's pretty cool as well. And you have your speakers there, the magnificent speaker system. Now, let me jump in. Some decent room. Now I have this seat moved up or moved back to where I'll be comfortable driving. I'm 6'1", and this is how much room I have for my knees. My feet are kind of going underneath the seat. They're kind of snug in there, that's for sure. But my knee room is quite a bit. I have let's say a good like 2-3 inches there. And if I put my head fully back against the backrest, I have like maybe an inch at most before my hair starts rubbing against the ceiling. So it's overall, I could sit here for a road trip, probably no problem. And something cool over here is they have individual LED lights over here, so that's pretty cool. So they went away with like one big light in the middle and just individualized it too. So that looks pretty cool in my opinion. But other than that, the seats, they look cool, you know, the same as before. The stitching and all that jazz. Where is the, oh, I guess they have no like fold down armrest. That's interesting. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, this is actually all joined together, so there's no actual armrest for the center. That's surprising, to say the least. Other than that, though, so down here you have really just a little cubby for whatever you would put down here. It's an odd shape as well, so not too much. Nothing really here. It seems like they had plans for something here. It's a blank little area though. No other cup holders here, and the only cup holders you really have are just in your door panel. So if you have drinks, you better hope they fit them there. Don't get the larges, just get the mediums and you'll be fine. And other than that, I think only thing we have left to do now is go for a drive. So let's go do that. All right, so the last thing we have left now is to drive the new HRV. Look at the mountains over there. You guys see that? Looks beautiful. Okay, I didn't want to do a actual like acceleration test, but I want to see just how slow this thing really is. Now, obviously, you get this vehicle to get something fast. You know, you're well aware of this. So I just want to see if you have good speeds for merging into highways or just pretending like you're in Fast and Furious or something. So anyways, I have it in normal mode. That's the only mode I can really put it in. Econ, snow, or normal. So we're gonna go normal. And okay, is everybody ready? Are you ready? In the comments section there. Okay. Okay, so I'll just stop it there. That was like 80 kilometers, all that noise and time. So just being honest, you guys are well aware, it's not a fast vehicle. Even the CR-V, the new one, is pretty slow. So I expect this thing to be even slower than the new CR-V. Aside from that, the engine is a solid built engine. It's a 2-liter naturally aspirated. You guys have probably heard me say before that these naturally aspirated engines are the way to go if you want longevity. The turbo engines are great, they're good in fuel economy, they bring you power, but the thing is though, I'm not sure how long they will last. Even though Honda has great reliability reputation, I have a tough time believing that they'll last quite a while issue-free after your warranty expires. So if your goal is to have something long-term, the HR-V is a good fit. One thing I noticed is the outside noise is very, very low compared to the previous generation. You don't get too much outside noise coming in. Now this could be maybe because I'm in the top trim, and I'm not sure if that is the case. Maybe it is. Maybe lower trims have more noise coming in, but I've noticed that as well. Aside from that, you know, the visibility is pretty good. The mirrors are nice and big. I can see all around. The rear window is awesome. It's not slanted like crazy, like a lot of coupe-ish SUVs look like. The blind spot, it's the usual. It is pretty thick in the rear pillars there, but that's a pretty normal thing nowadays. The indicators for Honda Sensing is there to help you out on that. Fuel economy wise, it is pretty good. I left the numbers on the screen there for you, and I was showing you the engine area. So, you know, I don't have too many complaints. One thing I will say though, I just got to bring it up because one of the most important things when you look into a vehicle, when you look into buying a vehicle, is the price. Now, I remember back in 2013, 14, maybe around 15, back then, a CR-V EXL, when there was, you know, or a touring even, at most would be high 30s, right? High 30s here in Canada. In America, it was definitely obviously lower. I'm not sure what the conversion rate was at that time, but you know, back around 2014-ish, it was around like high 30s for like a touring trip, mid to high 30s. And the crazy thing about this is now, this is a HR-V EXL, there's no more touring trim. This is $39,000 here in Canada, which is quite a bit of money. That's like, what, 29K in the States, I believe, after I did the conversion. You know, over there, it might be more competitive, but over here, it seems like quite a bit. But everything else in this segment is pretty pricey. And that's one thing I wonder, how much more expensive can vehicles get? I get it, it has nice features and nice technology and the Honda Sensing and the newer infotainment system and all that, but 40 grand for an HR-V, it seems like it's quite a bit, especially with everything else being so expensive. At least it's pretty good on gas, so it'll, you know, save you some bucks over there. But man, aside from that, like pricing is probably the biggest thing that I would focus on, because for $4,000, if we're being honest, I know the used market's pretty trash right now, the way everything is overpriced, because there's no new vehicle coming in. So you can get something pretty decent, pretty cool in the used market for that amount of money, or even less. Granted, it's obviously not brand new, but you can probably get a fairly new, not too high mileage driven CR-V, for example, for less than a brand new HR-V. Just my 2 cents. But you know, there's nothing wrong with the HR-V. I think it's a huge improvement over the previous gen. It drives pretty well. It's not meant to be a handling monster on the track or a drag racing car as well, but you know, those categories of driving, it has satisfactory, you know, marks in my books. Looks, obviously, everybody's looks is, you know, personal to themselves. I think it looks better than the previous generation. I see a lot of Ford Escape inspired front end action going on. Not the biggest fan of just like the Aston Martin looking grille that Ford used before too, and now Honda's doing that as well. But aside from that, you know, I think the new HR-V is a pretty good competitor in its market and its segment as well. So I'll leave it at that. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm pretty sure I forgot to talk about half the things I planned on talking about. Sorry about the delay in uploads. I was finishing up school, you know, graduating into being a wagee for life. And so, yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.